Shivani.
I do run an advertising company, and we also into food production, working with women in rural Zimbabwe.
Miss Jeannie, your name and introduce yourself, please.
My name is Jeannie Zerhofer, and I am from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am here to support Deanette in her speaking and everybody here. And I am a certified and licensed bank code trainer, and I believe reach one, teach one.
I'm Andrea Swenson. I'm from the States, from Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm here with the Ohana Tribe. And we are all successful businesswomen, coaches. I'm a business success strategist, and speaker, and author. And I'm here supporting my tribe, and we're supporting each other as well as events. And here comes more of them.
And people needing to use.
Yes.
I'm just going to start now, right? I think just to begin with what's up there, you should play to win. I'm not concentrating on the second part, and we'll come to that later. But when I looked at that statement, when the organizers told me that this is one of the things that they'd like me to speak about, my immediate gut reaction was, I've never done this in my life, right? I have never played to win. And I was wondering, okay, so play to win to drive excellence? Now, I'm not saying that I've achieved excellence in any way, shape, or form, but I think, broadly speaking, whatever work that I've done and whatever I continue to do, I believe that it's extremely important for me as an individual to not play to win, right? Now, it's a nomenclature, it's messaging. I'm assuming that when we talk and when the two of you speak as well, at least the principles that we will speak of will be similar. Coming from India and having worked at the grassroots level with a lot of, again, I hate using the terms, but it's probably the easiest for a gathering. The underprivileged, the ones that don't necessarily have the means that we do, who can't be in a room like this at this point of time, right? I've realized that the moment your mindset is to win, now whoever it may be to win for, there's always a person that loses. That's what winning, it's what it connotates, right? From my standpoint, I will tell you a bit about myself and what I've done from a personal perspective, and then time permitting, I'll talk to you more about also at a larger scale the things that we have achieved and how they effectively just completely go against what's written up there. When I was about 12 years old, I had juvenile arthritis. For about a year and a half, I was effectively in bed, not being able to move any of my joints. Right? That was a year and a half. I had absolutely no clue. And at a young age, you're obviously not as mature as I would be now, and you don't know whether you get up again, you do anything thereafter or not. And you don't understand the juvenile part of it. You just understand the arthritis part of it, right? And the fact that it's actually that bad. Fortunately, we did a lot of things. My parents did a lot for me at that point of time. Those around me did a lot for me at that point of time. And within a span of about 2 years, I became a runner. And I started winning competitions at the district level, at the state level. I represented my state at the nationals. And I became a long-distance runner, right? Which is even more taxing on the knees and so on and so forth. Now, as an athlete, I think that's where this works the most, where you say that you should always play to win, right? Because again, the concept is to play. But as an athlete also, and perhaps because I was a long-distance runner, maybe things are different if I was a sprinter, but the idea was never to win. The idea was always to run as fast as I can, for as long as I can, and do the best and push my body to the limits, right? The limits that I knew till about a year and a half, 2 years back, it couldn't have been achieved. And that's the thought process that drove me towards achieving that. Thereafter, I finished school, enrolled into law school in 2003, dropped out effectively within about 6 months period, right? Because I realized that everybody in law school was playing to win. And that's not something that I was willing to be a part of. everyone was trying to be better than the other. Everyone was trying to get a jump start on their legal careers by doing a lot of things that I necessarily can't agree or believe in. Right? Even the faculty, and no disrespect to them, but it's the world that we live in. Were telling us how to game our profiles, our resumes, our CVs, to make sure that we get the next internship or get our job and when we complete our law degree. That entire system and the way that it was geared, it just made me realize that, again, this is not something that I've done in my young life. This is not something that I'm going to do right now either. I dropped out, started working in, again, a word that I dislike, but I'll use it for the audience, the social sector. Right? For me, we're all humans, it's the human sector. It's the whole idea of it being social, of it being CSR and all of that. Pro bono, I don't like any of those words. But the whole idea is we're all human beings, and we all need to be human beings, and then everything is social, right? But in any case, the world is very different. Started there at the age of about 16 and a half, 17, spent about 8 odd years. In about 8 odd years, and because we've got other speakers, I'll try and keep it short, I'm not going to talk about all the 8 years, but what we achieved at the end of those 8 years was a benefit to the farmers in a particular area in India to the tune of about $10 billion US, right? Now it sounds like a lot of money. If I was playing to win, me and the people that we were working with would have probably been all over the newspapers. We would have probably been given accolades left, right and center, as is done for doing much lesser in a lot of places. The people that we did this for, right, and I must say this, while they would support and they would cheer, right, they never really let us win. Because at the end of the day, the world that we're in right now has trained them to be in a particular manner, where for them it is more important, and I'm extremely sorry to say for them, and they are underprivileged, and I feel sad when I say this, but they are trained to think in a way that, am I better than the person next to me? Right? Have I become better than the person next to me? So while all the work we did, we treated everybody equally, everybody was still upset with us. And we're talking about $10 billion US. It's not a small amount of money. This is nearly about, in Indian rupees, about 20,000 rupees a year per farmer, which is if you're a farmer and you obviously get your daily produce from your fields, it's adequate money to sustain yourself. It's not good money. It's not at all, but you can sustain yourself. But that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for all the lakhs of farmers that we helped. Because at the end of the day, we helped everybody equally. And they wanted to be one up. And that's where, again, I have a problem with this, to play to win. Because when you say play to win, someone has to lose. And since we are kids and we are children, and I'm talking more about India, all of you from other countries, you can tell me how it is in your parts of the world as well, right? But we're taught to win. We're taught to come first in school. We're taught to win in sports. We're taught that if you are a soccer player, if you are a cricketer in India, it's a team sport, but guess what? It's not about doing your best, it's about winning, right? For me, it was extremely important that I try and convey the message, which I've been extremely unsuccessful with. This is another attempt to try and convey that message, that it's not about winning. It isn't about winning, right? It's about the second part, which I think Diyanet will talk more about. It's about excellence, right? It's about doing the best that you can do. No way am I suggesting that there shouldn't be a win-loss in terms of competition, right? But that mindset has to change. When you lose, you know what you can do better. When you win, you can help the others to win as well, right? And that's the mindset that we need to have and we need to try and adopt. Thereafter, now that's on the social sector, right? Now I've talked about sports, I've talked about the social sector. I'm a management consultant by professional. I get paid to talk. People come to me, and people double my age come to me to try and speak to me about right and wrong, right? In their businesses, about taking decisions in their businesses. I speak in this manner. Right, for me, profit is not the sole motive of business. I think doing it in the right manner is the sole motive of business. One of the sectors that I work in extensively is the legal sector, where I'm working with law firms and some of the largest law firms in the country today, helping them run their businesses better, right? And again, they're lawyers, so with this message I'm failing tremendously. But in any case, there is a lot of conversation today about foreign direct investment in the legal sector in India, right? And that's investment. Me, I'm a college dropout, right, as I mentioned earlier. I don't have a formal law degree, but the draft legislation that is circulating across the Ministry of Law and Justice and the Ministry of Commerce for bringing foreign direct investment into the legal sector has been drafted by me, right? I don't consider that as a win. There are a lot of more intelligent people out there who could have done this job, right? But no one necessarily stood up and did it. Now the problem there simply was everybody was looking at what they can gain from it. And what can we gain from not doing something of this sort? What is my agenda behind this? How do I win, right? Or I as a collective win? No one was looking at it from a point of view of the country. And to be able to take steps which matter to the entire world, to your country, to your community, to your society, to just the locality that you live in, right? You need to look at everybody without looking at yourself. And playing to win, at the end of the day, looks at yourself. Even if you say, I'm winning as a team, you're winning against other teams. Even if you say, I'm winning as a locality, you're winning against other localities. We need to be in a position where all of us are looking at things from a holistic perspective, changing the narrative that the world has set for us, where all of us are looking at what is relevant and not what is expected of us. So when we are told that X needs to be done, we need to see the reason why X needs to be done. We need to win in X, why do we need to win in X? And what it means for everybody else, right? And that's effectively the message that I want to give out right now. If we have time after the two lovely ladies have spoken, then we'll obviously have more conversations. Right? Thank you. Thank you so much. Did I got your name right?
Yes, you did.
So you're here from Zimbabwe. You're the director of Net1 Cellular Private Limited. So I would request you to please come up.
Thank you so much. That was a very interesting perspective there. Mine is a bit different from yours in that I've started by defining the word win in itself. I've redefined it. It's not, I've made it an acronym pretty much. So maybe you'd like to grab a pencil or something, or just take a note somewhere. My definition of the word win is work it now. All right? Work it now. So that is my definition of the word win, which then says whether we win or lose really depends on how we play the game. Why is that no one remembers the person that came second or third in an Olympic race? Because when you don't really win, when you don't actually win, it doesn't really matter. People will remember the person that finished the race and that finished first. So, the will to win, the desire to succeed, and the urge to unleash your full potential are the keys that will unlock your personal excellence. Like if you want to link it with the rest of the topic there. So there are decisions that we need to make today that will define just how far we're catapulted into the destiny of excellence. So how do we play to win? I'll give you 4 simple tips. The first one is the AAA factor. I would like to call it the AAA factor. We need to understand what we are defining as the AAA factor. When we need to come to the realization that it's not our aptitude, but our attitude that defines our altitude. That's the AAA. Aptitude, attitude, altitude. So altitude is the winning bit, the working it now bit that I spoke about earlier. So a lot of people wonder why some people have achieved excellence and yet they don't even have a string of qualifications. I think some of the most successful people in the world have won or have made a success of their lives, not by the amount of degrees or PhDs or diplomas that they hold, but it's the attitude that has defined how far they have gone in life. They've just embraced a winning attitude in the full knowledge that yesterday or our past is not for us to recover or for us to be bound by. A lot of people, like when I was listening to his story, he could have never been an athlete if the arthritis was anything to go by. But he did not allow his past to define how far he will go in life. So he had a different attitude that then defined or redefined his altitude to be where he is today. So we need to work it now and focus on what we should be doing today to guarantee our tomorrow. The next aspect that we need to look at is what I want to call the one act for TNT. Playing to win means you're striving for the top spot. That is being number one. What does it take to be number one? First, I'll redefine the word one. Only now exists. Remember we said work it now, meaning win, and then the next bit is only now exists, which is one, right? So for us to be number one, or for us to attain that winning streak of being number one, we need to act. Act, I've redefined it, action changes things. So we need to take calculated actions that will transform our situations, our environment, our mindset, and place us on a path that is built on the urgency to deliver and achieve excellence. Which brings you to the next bit of the sentence, which is TNT. The greatest weapon that we need to carry in our minds is what I would like to call the TNT attitude, which is the today, not tomorrow attitude. That is the TNT weapon that I need us to carry. The TNT attitude speaks to us adopting a new work ethic of being self-driven and having a passion and renewed energy. Remember, for us, as women, being the majority in this room, we need to work twice as hard to get half the recognition and half the acknowledgement anyway. So it then says, the minute that we are people that procrastinate, people that take our time and say, no, I can't finish this today, I need to work on it tomorrow, it then says we have this relaxed kind of approach to life, which will not get us into the place that we want, which will not define our now, which will not define our winning streak. The next bit is use wit and fact. Wit being used whatever it takes to, let me redefine fact as well, through focused actions that change things. So that is what we need to do. We need to have a witful nature that then says, whatever we do, we need to focus on the end goal. You can never win if you don't know your destination. So you need to actually make a concerted effort to define where you want to end up and have all the steps. Do whatever it takes to get there. This not only looks at competing with other people. For me, that is not even the space. You need to compete for a better version of yourself. Who you were yesterday, you need to actually work towards becoming a better you tomorrow. So for me, winning is not about what everyone else around me is doing and what I need to do to outwit the next person. It's how I need to outwit my mind today to define where I end up tomorrow. So that is how I've defined winning. We all know that there is no I in team, but there is an I in win. The word win has an I, meaning that it takes an individual effort on our own parts to be able to define where we want to end up. And that is what will trigger excellence. So my last parting tip to you is we need to be true, we need to be great, and we need to lead with pride. I've broken up again the words into acronyms. Be true to yourself and others. Trust your own ingrown abilities. Each and every one of us is born with different skill sets, different talents. We just need to trust ourselves. And once we trust ourselves, that trust releases unbelievable enthusiasm. So the word true, trust releases unbelievable enthusiasm. Once you get to that point of being true to yourself, the next stage is for you to be great. Great being defined as where you get really excited about today. Get really excited about today. Great. This is the next stage that you go to. After being true to yourself, you get excited about today and get really excited about today, which is the TNT mentality I was saying. And then from there, you go into a position of leading, which is winning. You have to be number one. So lead is learn from others, educate. Winning, you need to share your knowledge with others, appreciate the talents that others have, and then develop your skills from what others around you have. So it's a continuous learning process and continuous personal and professional development. Then the last destination, which is the one that speaks to excellence, is get to a place of pride. Pride I've defined as personal responsibility in delivering excellence. So you've been true to yourself, you've been great, you are now leading, and you're at a place of pride, which is the continuous renewal of energy and excellence in your lives. So for me, that is the winning formula that links it from the outset to the excellence. Thank you. I'm trying to pronounce that. Diane, is that?
Yes.
Perfect. Diane Vasquez, is it? Vasquez? Welcome.
Thank you. I acknowledge you to be here. Thank you so much. I'm going to do this real casual and formal, and because my two first speakers, on my belief, they speak about the content, I'm going to tell some story. And I agree with you. They are the most successful people, they don't have a degree. And this story, I met some guy, a wonderful gentleman, maybe 49 years ago. And he told me that he always talked to their kids or childs, 3 kids, beautiful kids, about his dream. And he said, Bunny, I talked to them and said, someday I will pay in full the house. My 3 kids will be at the school or in the college with their degrees. And we will have a good savings, his wife and I, for the retirement. And I know, and he said to me, I always tell that to my kids. That is my dream. However, this gentleman, born and raised very poor, with 8 siblings, no shoes, no bed, no nothing. And I said, wow, how you can make it? I made it. He said, because I always have a dream. And it's like the GPS. You need to have an address. You are in the point A, you want to be in the point B. I said, but you don't have any college, any degree. I said, yes, but I have a good relationships. I have the desire. I said, oh, okay. So I realized it's a mindset of excellence. I'm not talking about win, because you cannot tell people win if they don't have the experience of the motion of the excellence. Excellence is quality of relationship, quality of service, quality of product that you want to serve or sell. The relationship is a quality, is a part of excellence. So at the end I said, okay, what's your result? Okay, I accomplished everything. I have, my 3 kids are lawyer, accountant, a CPA, and architecture. The 3 of them has a business. Wow, I cannot believe it. Said it, yes. And I have, wow. And I asked him, could you please give me your secret? And he said, just work hard, read a lot, have a good relationship. However, the most important, have a direction. Who you want to be, and I'm going to read this part. It is your mindset that determines who you are, what you want, and who you will be. The report said, the whole secret for a successful life is discovering that we are destined to do and then do it. If you don't know what you want to do, if you don't know who you want to be, then how you think that you can play to win? You need to have that mindset. It's a chip in your brain. So it's something that you said, you know what, I want to be an international speaker. That's why I'm here, despite of every obstacle. However, obstacle is just a feedback too. It's how to learn to do something differently or better. So what I'm saying to you is that the story of this good gentleman helped me and is my foundation because he's my dad. And when I'm saying it's my foundation because I'm writing my story. So for me, that is a story that is already writing. So it's important, not because it's my dad, it's because it's really, it's real. It's something that I can tell you. It's true. So all of us, we can play to win. However, we need to know, or we need to have a direction. We need to know if we want to, what do you want to do? I'm going to ask you. Yes.
I want to be a successful person who's known in the world, globally. So I want to be a successful image consultant.
Image consultant. Can I ask you how? Or you have a direction? Do you know in what period of year? In 10 years, 5 years?
Yeah, my goals are set, like long term though it will be like till 10 years. But shortly, like 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
I hope I'll achieve my goal within 3 to 4 years.
And you want to be global?
Yeah.
And
I want my chains, I belong to Punjab and I have my chain in my place. So I want my chains to be there. I have my own finishing school in Punjab, my finishing institute where I groom people on soft skills and image enhancement programs. So I want my chains globally. So this is, my aim.
may I ask a question? Do you have a game plan for that?
Game plan is such like I've started it and slowly and steadily I'll gain momentum and I'll then keep spreading my wings.
Okay, do you have that in writing?
No.
Okay, great. So, I suggest you to have it start writing.
Okay.
It's like a goal that separate the achievers from other people. If you want to achieve, you need to start writing your dreams.
Great.
Is your goal and in time. I suggest you, highly recommend you to live in between 10 years and 20 years.
Thank you.
Miss Ellie, could you please tell me if you have something that you plan to do or you want to do in it?
I have a lot of plans. You want me to pick one?
Yes, please.
Hold on. I would like to give speeches on corporate stages around the world.
Okay. Who mentioned the word focus? Focus on your performance, not on unwanted outcomes. Think about what you want, visualize, and focus your energy on that, and that will be spent.
So keep seeing myself standing on the corporate stages and I'll get there.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I guess I have my time.
Trying to tell you earlier, but you were in the middle.
No, I want to be respectful to the time of my colleagues. Oh, 30 seconds. I want to say attitude is an emotion and also a decision. It is a behavior of learning that requires energy and discipline. Also, the achievers, we talk about achievers, but the achievers are self-discipline, self-leadership, self-management, and self-innovative. So if we manage and will be a master in that area, that will be awesome. So excellence, what can I say? As Steve Jobs said, we don't get a chance to do that many things. And everyone should be really excellent because this is our life. Life is brief. And then you die, you know? So this is what chosen to do with our life. Be excellent. I don't know if that's mean winning, but be excellent for me is a quality of time, relationship, service, and love. Thank you so much.
You haven't said, that would be very useful as well.
Very interesting.
I love winning. Plain and simple. It's the same thing in relationship to the word confrontation. It simply means to confront. There is nothing inherently negative or positive about the word. It's the same thing with the word win. Nothing inherently negative or positive about it. Simply a state of being. Does not diminish the other person. I think a country can win globally and locally. An individual can win within a family, within themselves, without necessarily having a loser. So that is a win-win situation. I think, as I was listening in particular to winning almost being a bad thing, when you don't strive to win, you never reach excellence. Because that winning has to be an internal motivator to move. If I feel as in staying the status quo, then actually nobody around me wins. They all lose because I have not lived into my potential. So there's nothing for me negative in the word win. That simply means I have more to lift somebody else up with. And I'm a lawyer.
Yes, you should love reading. So was the hand right next to you?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I had somewhat similar comment in terms of winning, but I feel everybody, you need to win over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you also need to, everybody's wins at different things.
Yes.
Winning and achievement are two different things, I feel. Like a lot of material achievement may not be the result of a person having won. So winning, what does winning mean to each person is very different. And inside your heart, you should feel, I have won. Whether it is over a circumstance or over, whatever challenge which is up ahead of you. And it doesn't have to necessarily mean one-upmanship over another person. So I don't need to feel bad if I win over something, because if I win the wrong way, what you were saying, Mr. Chimmy, if you win the wrong way, the crab mentality where you put crabs in a bucket and instead of all of them getting out, you don't need to keep a lid, you're putting the other one down. So instead of that is not winning. But when everybody works together to help, if we collaborate, like how you said, bring somebody else up, win to be the best you. I think that's important, to win to be the best you.
I just love the ways that Albert redefined the concept of winning, of pride and all that you did, because I think, and of what the two of you are saying, there is no way that I can disagree with the two of you. Right?
I won! Sorry, I couldn't resist.
That's brilliant. So, with that excitement, right, and frankly, if I were to just be a little serious for a minute, but that excitement and that emotion with which you said what you said, and about your entire group, right, and then the way what you're saying as well as the redefine what winning means and achievement and winning, all of that, I think I'm just picking up on the one word that you use, confrontation, right? I'm taking confrontation to be equal also to conversation. Right?
Absolutely.
And I think that's where my difficulty arises, right? That what you're saying is brilliant. What you said is brilliant. What you said is fantastic. And same here. The limited problem, though, is that because there isn't adequate confrontation, there isn't adequate conversation, right? Things get lost in translation, and the narrative changes, right? Which is what all of us need to be clear about. But that sort of excitement is brilliant. When that sort of excitement can be translated to everybody around, so that everybody understands what winning actually means, then yes, I will be complete. Right now, I can't disagree with you, but then I'll become wrong. Right? Right now, I can be right and still agree with you, but I will become wrong in saying that winning is a bad word. Right? Because the narrative needs to change, and that's the kind of excitement, the kind of things that all of us are saying here is what will help change that narrative about what winning connotes. Right? So, thank you so much for that, the both of you. Yes, please.
I know I was a cheerleading coach for many years, so we talked about winning a lot. But when my girls would lose a competition, their whole value would sort of drop. So we went from changing the word loss to learn. We're either winning or we're learning. When we, don't get the scores that we, need to get, we can evaluate what the judges have said, and we can figure it out as a group. I spent quite a bit of time making, and they were middle schoolers, so age 6, grade 6 to 8, making them feel like they were a part of the process to get us to a level of winning. And then on another level, I used the score sheet in a way to let them show like where they were at, but we stopped looking so much at what the other team scored and looked at the category ranges for what we needed to do. So it was no longer this, we had our rival teams and stuff like that, but it was more us beating the criteria and not so much the other girls. Which kind of bonded them all in a way, because they were still slightly competitive. Of course, you can't completely, get rid of that. But when we were at competitions, all of the teams were dancing and singing and doing everything together, because it became less about beating each other and doing the best you can do in each category. And me and the other coaches kind of strive for that, because there's a lot of internet bullying and Facebook. And we had some issues with some girls going on Facebook and talking about other teams. And so we as the coaches got together to change that culture. So I think it needs to be a culture shift, and then just figure out what winning is for you individually. Not so much of coming and listening to other speakers and saying, oh, I need to be more like her or more like him or things like that, and just do the best that I can do instead of being so focused on everybody else. So I think if you focus a little bit more that way, it'll change the narrative of losing and winning at the same time and bring everything up a little bit more.
Or has it been?
It's been said like over and over and over again. I was going to talk about real estate, practicing real estate for many, many years. If it wasn't a win-win-win situation, it wasn't happening if you were working with me, whether a seller or a buyer. There's no reason to have it be, there was no need for that animosity in the real estate world, and it is that way, but it doesn't need to be. There's no reason why the buyer can't win, the seller can't win, the brokers can't, you know what I mean? It can be a total win-win-win situation, and that's the way I always practice real estate, to make sure it was a win-win. And I trained a lot of real estate brokers to do it that way, because it didn't make sense to do it anywhere else.
I wish you were my real estate agent.
So I think what we seem to be hearing from across the room is it's talking about focus. Where are you focusing your energy when you're driving this whole win mentality? Are you focusing it on the social media bullying of the people that have lost or etc.? Or you're focusing on what you can learn from that particular incident to make you a better you? So I think it's how you really, define this winning streak. Because I think all of us have it. And, and I don't think anyone around this room really wants to settle for second class, third class. You know, intentionally, everyone wants to have that sense of achievement, that sense of pride that I spoke about earlier. And you just want to feel a certain way. You want to feel great. You don't want to feel average. You want to feel great. So I think it's about the focus and the way you look at winning as an individual. That says it should really be about you, your mindset, you as a person, and what you want to achieve, your own goals, your own things that you're striving for. If you do then become competitive, well, nothing wrong there.
I think we can start closing and I guess the best conclusion, I think, is in order to win, in order to achieve, we need to know, we need to have an address to put in the GPS and then get there. Maybe we can lose in the way. There's a detour in life. There are no straight line to be successful, to win. So when you have that detour, maybe you think it's a failure. No, it's a feedback. And we all know, Ohana's right, that it's just a feedback. And it's great to have a detour at the end accomplish or win. I guess you have a lot of people or ladies here to talk to.